You're going to get through this.
Easy for listening. I was able to do it.
I'm not a great lover of cat. That's my fear.
You're a disgrace, you are.
Not me. That's my fear.
You're a disgrace, you are.
Hello and welcome to Shadowboxing, Have Your Say. Today my guest at WTV Studios, Dr. Peter Dingle. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So you are a toxicologist and
Nutrition
nutritionist
and lifestyle.
and lifestyle,
look,
everything, all over.
I call myself a nutritional and environmental toxicologist because I blended a lot of the early environmental things I did with toxins and the nutritional part that I've been learning for 30 years and researching, and how they all blend together. So nutritional and environmental toxicologist is perhaps
That's
the
a
best.
very nice name, I love it.
And nobody knows what it is anyway, so it's good.
But we heard about nutrition and we heard about toxics, so in a way we know what does it mean.
That's it. Look, in fact, what's interesting is they're both sides of the same, or different sides of the same coin. Most of the toxins have their effect on nutrients, or nutrient pathways, or genes that affect nutrients, and the nutrients affect the pathways of toxins, or what happens to toxins. So you can't consider one without the other.
No, you couldn't. And your main interest is how can we live a life which is healthy in the environment which is very unhealthy sometimes.
Yep.
So, and I know you published now 12 books or 14?
14 books now.
14 now. I remember only 12. So 14 books. And one of the latest is Unlocking Your Genes.
For weight loss.
For weight loss. So that's a very interesting thing because everyone somehow today want to lose weight. But before we're going into weight loss, we should talk about our life and what is really influencing our life. The old sages say, and still probably true, what you eat, what you are. Is it true?
Well, I'd modify that to say what you eat and digest
Yes.
is what you are. So, because you can be eating nowadays, I'd suggest 50% of Australians, for example, West Australians, have such poor digestion, they're not even getting a lot of the nutrients out of their food anyway, so, you know.
So what's happening with all those toxics which are surrounding us and they're getting into our body?
Yep. I mean, look, we're exposed to toxins everywhere. It doesn't matter the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you have. There are always toxins. The unfortunate thing is, while in some situations we're getting lower levels of air pollution, generally in Western Australia and so on, we're still putting toxins into some of our food. For example, our pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. On top of that, in our water, which you would be, well and truly know, things like fluoride, which is ridiculous putting it in water and spreading it around. But then on top of that, we've got all the various medications that, we're pumping into people now, and, it's just another form of putting toxins in the body that the body doesn't need. We don't need, and the body doesn't know how to deal with it.
So the topic is, what do we need if we don't need the toxins?
Oh, look, it comes back to really simple, common sense stuff. And that is what I normally put into a program called the DEAL. Diet, Environment, Attitude and Lifestyle. So DEAL. Easy for people to remember. And when it comes to your environment and things like that, you just minimise your exposure to toxic chemicals. So it amazes me. I see so many kids playing around the back of a vehicle, for example, and the car's warming up. Don't they realise that, one of the deadliest toxins there is carbon monoxide, and I'm going, turn the car off. Or the kids are waiting in the car and it's warming up and they're in a garage and they're literally poisoning it, So it really comes down to awareness, and no one is telling people. The deodorants, the makeup, the cosmetics. For the last 50 years, we're being pushed more and more of these chemicals onto people, and more people aren't just sick, they're actually getting sick of these chemicals, so they react to them. And then you've got the food.
They're calling it allergy.
Oh.
No, sickness, you
Well,
see.
absolutely.
I know the wording, the right wording for that.
Allergies are, the same thing when it comes to food. The toxins that are in food, there are already natural toxins in there that act as pesticides and so on, but we're adding all this extra stuff that we don't really need to.
Okay, go to something, a topic which is really fascinates me and probably lots of people, and everyone know about it, the dangers of cholesterol. And we got a book in here from Peter, which says,
The Great Cholesterol Deception. Let me give you a bit of history, okay? This is in just after World War II. A group of scientists with a good idea of making money got together and they did this big survey. 22 countries around Europe and the US.
Yes.
So 22 countries. And they said, well, okay, we've got 22. Well, let's take 15 away. Oh, hold on, that's bad science already. And put 7. And you put 7 in the graph, and it showed that as the cholesterol went up and the fat consumption went up,
yes,
you had more heart attacks. Okay, so heart attack, up more. Then they put another country in, number 8, France. France had high cholesterol, high fat consumption, and low heart attack rate. So they called it the French paradox and said it must be the red wine. My bunkums, this is just so ridiculous. Then they put Switzerland in, okay?
Yeah.
Switzerland, high fat, high cholesterol. Hold on.
Very cheesy.
Low heart attack. So they said, hold on, it must be the cheese. Yes. Then they put Belgium in.
That's cheesy, yes.
And Belgium had the same. It must be the chocolate. This is how stupid. When they put all the countries in, 22, the graph went like this. There was no association with cholesterol. The whole idea about cholesterol is ridiculous. There is no such thing as good cholesterol or bad cholesterol.
But that's what our audience hears from their GPs. When they got their readings back from their blood test, they say, okay, so you got the bad cholesterol, and you got the good cholesterol, that's really good. But your cholesterol is already high. The ratio and the high, and we have to work out this one. So I got a solution for you. This is the drug. You have to take that, and that will solve your problem. However, you have to take the drug, but you have to stick with it, because otherwise you're going to die. They're not telling you you're going to die earlier if you take the drug.
No. It's so ridiculous. It's an absolute lie. It is a lie. Okay? I have 500 references in that book and another 500 scientific papers to support exactly what I say.
Yeah.
If you take a cholesterol medication, and I'm not recommending anyone to get off their medication, I can't do that. But the science shows that if you take a cholesterol medication, it will reduce your risk of a heart attack by the best scientific studies done by the companies, less than 1%. Less than 1%.
That's a good medicine.
I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? If you, here it is, if you get the independent research, it's 0. But the doctors are brainwashed by the pharmaceutical companies. And they come in and they go, look at these statistics. And they do a funny statistics. They do something called relative statistics.
Yes, what's that?
Well, if you've got 100 people who have the drug and only 3 die, right? Mm-hmm. So that's 3%, right?
Yes.
100 people who don't take the drug and 4 people die. That's 4%.
Yep.
Now you say, okay, what's the difference between that percentage and that percentage? You would say?
25%.
1%. Well, most people would say 1%, 3% compared to 4.
No, it's 25.
But what happens is the drug companies twist it around and say 3 compared to 4, 4 is 25% more. No, it's less than 1%. If you take the best studies ever done by the drug companies, it's less than 1%. Now, you can get the same benefit with no side effects from taking a couple of almonds, or taking a magnesium supplement, taking, a whole raft of nutritional things, which is what I'm trying to educate people. The drugs...
But Peter, politicians say if 1 people die on the road because of speeding, we have to get rid of speeding and we have to penalize the people. They may say if only 1% die, which is probably 1 people from the 100, that's too many.
Okay, overwhelmingly, the research shows that even if it reduces your risk of a heart attack by 1% or less, it increases your risk of another disease.
Which one?
By 1 or 2%, often cancer. So in terms of mortality over 10, 20 or 30 years, there is no change. But the people who are given the drugs have these serious side effects. Muscle twitching, muscle aches, muscle pain, amnesia
But
increases.
you know what? They're going to the doctor again. And they got other drugs.
And they get another drug.
So they got
It's
3,
fantastic.
4, 5, 25 per day. It's good
Fantastic. Look, the unfortunate thing is no one is willing to discuss this on television because there is so much pressure from the biggest and most powerful companies in the world, the drug companies.
Yes.
The fact is, the scientists out there are 1,000 scientists on the internet right now who are writing articles trying to educate people that what they get told
It's not true.
Yeah, by the medical system is a blatant, outright lie. It's deception.
If cholesterol is not contribute to heart attack, because everyone says cholesterol is in your veins and everywhere, you're gonna die because you couldn't even get rid of cholesterol from your vein.
Yeah.
So what is clogging the arteries? Okay. Is it cholesterol or what?
Look, there's always a bit of cholesterol because what is cholesterol? Cholesterol, by the way, is one of the most important chemicals in your body. In your brain, it's probably the most important chemical in your brain. So if you start lowering cholesterol in your brain, you're on the way to Alzheimer's or lots of other mental conditions. Cholesterol is essential. Your steroid hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, vitamin D are all made of cholesterol. So what is the problem? Well, cholesterol is a part of your immune system, a Band-Aid. So if you've got a crack in your arteries, they go crack, crack, crack. They're rigid. You've been eating crappy food. You haven't been following my programs. Crappy foods, the arteries go, and they send the Band-Aids. You know what the Band-Aids are?
No.
Cholesterol.
Yes.
Yep. And the Band-Aids are really soft, rubbery, really nice, malleable, so they don't cause a problem. What happens is, because of the diet we have, calcium forms a hard surface on the top of the cholesterol and the plaque, and it becomes really rigid. And so the arteries are literally stuck like this, and nothing can get through, and if a bit breaks off, it's really hard and rigid, not like the soft cholesterol band. It's the calcium and the imbalance in our, acidosis, the pH of our blood that's contributing to it.
But we need calcium because of the bones, but we don't need it in the artery.
Yeah.
So why the the calcium rush into the blood system and builds around the cholesterol?
Because the body is trying to look after itself right now.
Yes.
It's not worried about the future. So it's actually taking calcium out of the bone, bringing it into the arteries to balance the acid level, and then it precipitates. What they find is the higher calcium level in the arteries, the lower the calcium level in the bones. You're going to have blocked, calcified arteries, not cholestrified, calcified arteries.
So what can give the order to the calcium to build and go there where it's needed, not to the artery?
Nutrients. Nutrients. There's a huge body of evidence now to show that you can unblock your arteries, unblock them, not without an operation or anything, but unblock them, even if they're 99% blocked, with nutrients.
Well, the doctors say you couldn't get rid of your cholesterol from the arteries or the calcium. So that's another lie. But on that note, we have to stop and go for a short break. Please stay with us, because after the break, we're coming back and talking about weight loss, the real weight loss, according to Peter Dingle. Today, my guest is Peter Dingle. And Peter, we talked about one conspiracy of cholesterol, or about cholesterol, and now something else which is in the people's mind every day, weight loss. Not just in women's mind, probably men's thinking about weight loss as well. So start with that. How do we get the extra weight on? And why?
Look, it's so simple. The principles about what I teach are that we're on the wrong track, okay? We do silly things like calorie counting, and we do all this. But I can tell you, this is probably the single biggest cause of obesity, putting on weight, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease in Australia is the Australian government. How's that?
That sounds really good. We love the government.
This isn't a conspiracy, this is fact. The government introduced the food pyramid. Now, when the food pyramid...
When was that? Sorry.
That was in the late 80s, 90s.
Yes.
So we had it for about 25 years. Mm-hmm. And the problem with the food pyramid was that the scientific panel over in the US who developed it came up and said, look, we'll have 3 to 6 serves of whole grain on the bottom, you know?
Yep.
It went to the lobbyists and the politicians over in the US, and they came back and said, well, let's make it 7 to 13 serves. In some it's 9 to 13, but let's say 7 to 13 serves of any grain. So instantly we doubled the amount of the worst type of food you could have and made at the bottom of the food pyramid. This is so ridiculous and so outdated. And for 25 years, my colleagues, my friends have all been scientists, not politicians and lobbyists, have been saying this is ridiculous, we've got to get rid of it. So now, for example, we've introduced a new system. But I'll give you another example of the lobby groups. In the US, and it's no different to here, in the US, Obama decided to make healthy food eating in schools.
Yes.
So they made some guidelines and it pushed out all the pizzas. So the US Department of Agriculture was given a task to get it back in. So because pizza has a vegetable, a sauce on it, it's now called a vegetable in the US. That's the corruption across the world when it comes to food. There are trillions of dollars in food.
Yes.
And so you have to make sure that the rich keep making their crappy foods and you keep eating it. The food star system in Australia. You go up there and you look.
What is that?
Wow, this is...
It's printed on the packages.
This is the new packaging labelling.
Yes.
You go up and you go, wow, look at that. Do you realise Milo, it's out of 5.
So the system is working 1 to 5,
Yeah,
yes?
1 to 5. Milo gets 4.5
Milo?
out of 5. I've never ever seen a long-term study suggesting Milo has any health or nutritional benefits. None whatsoever.
You see, all our Olympians drink Milo.
Of course.
So it should have the stars.
Of course they do. And I don't want to pick on Milo. They've got Cheerios. They've got all of the breakfast food, somewhere between 3 and 4.5. And these are crappy foods. These are over-processed, grain-based foods. Now, what's interesting is meat gets, I've seen a packet of meat that gets 3 and maybe even higher. I just looked at 1. And then I found a pack of vegetables that only got 3.5 out of 5.
The meat beats the veggies.
The meat beat the veggies, or equals the veggies, and was beaten by Milo and beaten by the breakfast foods and so on. Whereas here is my limit, okay?
Yes.
I'll tell you. Here are the veggies, the nuts, the beans. You want to lose weight, here it is. My secrets. Veggies, nuts, beans, all of these things, fruit. This is here in the 9 area out of 10. All these other ones that the government's rating 4.5, I rate them as 1 and 2. So something somewhere has gone wrong. Now, I don't think I'm stupid, and 30 years of research in this area and all the work my students did at university with me, I had PhD students and honours students working on this with me, and they all agree. Any logical person, all those foods should be here. Now, why do we put on weight? Because we're eating...
That's the question, Peter. Yeah.
This is where it comes. We're eating foods at this end. We're eating foods that we're still directed and told that they're good for you. If you have Milo, you will put on weight, okay? You will put on weight. You have these cereal breakfasts, you will put on weight. You eat these foods here, this end, and you will lose weight. And a lot of people think it's calories. No. Calorie counting, 300, 200 calories, has never ever been demonstrated in the scientific literature to work. Counting calories is ridiculous. And I'll give you an example. 98% of people who are on a program within 1 year put on weight back on or more. 99% they put the weight, and they put the weight back on. 99% put it back on within 2 years. Now, why the 1%? Well, who is the 1% who don't put back on weight? They're not the gym bunnies. They're not the weightlifters. No. They're the ones who lose weight eating healthy foods. Your genes, your genetics, your DNA, your chromosomes, whatever you know it as, has a certain way of listening to you. Now, that certain way means that you keep your weight there, or it goes up, or it goes down. You've got your set point in weight. If you start to feed it foods that it doesn't understand, new foods, modern foods, foods that like like a language, talk to it in a foreign language. The best way to it's like a foreign language. So your genes want to keep you at this weight, but you're speaking with this language, and the language is saying put weight on. You see, you can have 100 calories of sugar and 100 calories of almonds. For example, 100 calories of almonds will help you lose weight, reduce your risk of diabetes, heart attack, stroke, cancer, and every other disease, okay?
And the sugar?
And the sugar will increase your weight. 100 calories of sugar will still increase your weight. It'll contribute to diabetes type 2, heart attacks, strokes, and cancer. You have that, you put on weight. You have this, you lose weight. And why? When you talk to the genes, it tells your body, it tells your DNA to actually increase your metabolism a little bit, and it tells you to downgrade your hunger. So, oh, I feel full. Oh, my metabolism is up and running. Oh, I don't need to store any of this extra stuff. But it
So
also,
stop eating.
Yeah,
That's what
I
says.
don't have to fast. I don't have to do any of these crazy wacko diets, you know. I don't have to get food delivered to my door every day. Here it is. It is this end of the spectrum. Now, there are higher end foods that are even better to eat, but it
So
comes
how
down to
about
it.
fat?
Fat. The low-fat diet. The low-fat diet is probably the single biggest contributor to I think, okay, Alzheimer's. You know, your brain is
Yes.
60% fat. And so the government, again, has said, oh, get off the fat, get off the fat. No. And then on the other hand, they've said, oh, swap butter and these other things for margarine.
Which is killer, margarine.
Margarine.
Most artificial.
Margarine
Shit,
is
a
the
stinking
worst
word.
possible food. In fact, some friends of mine say it's not even food. It's the worst possible.
Yes.
Get rid of the margarine. Even if it's got a Heart Foundation tick on it, get rid of the margarine. It's a toxic food. But you're told to have vegetable oils. Vegetable oils contribute to a process called inflammation. Inflammation is like when you get a bruise or a cut.
Yes.
But it's causing inflammation in your body. So your vegetable oils and margarine are causing inflammation. To protect itself under stress, the body holds on to weight. So what's it telling your body to do? It's telling your genes, hold on to the weight. I want to protect you in a time of nutritional stress. So your body doesn't understand it. It's just reading the language, the wrong language, and it's telling you to have it and hold on to the weight. So get rid of all those. What we do need, a little bit of butter is great. It's actually got something in it called conjugated linolenic acid, CLA, which actually can contribute to weight loss if you don't have too much. So you have a little bit of your butter. You have a little bit of the fat in other things. But most importantly, what we have to increase are our omega-3 fatty acids.
Where is that coming from? Because I heard omega-3 is not really good.
Oh, no, omega-3 is absolutely fantastic. And there are thousands of studies on the benefits, thousands. And the first one is obviously krill and fish oils. They're the two main sources that people talk about. But we also get very good sources from things like ground up linseed, chia seed, walnuts, and some of the nuts.
Yeah, walnuts.
So again,
yes,
it comes
very
back
good.
to having those foods that are fairly natural, and you can still make them into fantastic dishes if you've got a good imagination.
You not necessarily have to buy it from the chemist.
No, no, absolutely not. You know, the program we talk about is so simple, and what we find is that we have actually had people who have reversed their diabetes because of it. They have unblocked their arteries. Yes, you can unblock the arteries without an operation. They've unblocked their arteries by going on the nutritional program.
What you tell to the people who are like not that fortunate, they're vegetarian or even vegan, eating raw food, and they're still not losing weight. What could be the reason for that?
Look,
And also going to the gym.
Yep. Oh, well, I'll deal with the gym one first, okay? The gym one's really easy.
Yeah.
Your body wants to keep this weight, okay? If it starts to lose weight, even if you're 50 kilograms overweight, if you start to lose weight, your body, your genetics, your DNA thinks you're not going to have enough food. It thinks you're going to run out because historically we never had refrigerators and pantries and supermarkets. So it always wants to maintain the same weight. So if you go to the gym, what happens? You can work out really hard, but in the next 24 hours, you will consume the exact amount of calories, that you burnt up at the gym. That's how fantastic your body is. It calculates, it knows exactly. And you can eat healthy ones, which will help you lose weight, or you can eat the normal ones and you can still put on weight while going to the gym, or keep it that way. So exercise is only a 10% factor in weight loss.
So the next reason why they don't lose weight, even they're vegetarian or vegan and go to the gym, what's the next
if you're
one?
a vegetarian and a vegan, the problem is, and that's a great, for moral, ethical, environmental, planetary reasons, it's great. Problem is, I know a lot of vegetarians who eat crappy food still. Crappy white bread, crappy cereals, or anything that is still over-processed, yet it may not have meat and it may not have animal products or byproducts in it, but it's still crappy food. So a vegetarian eating crappy food is just as bad as a meat eater eating crappy food. The meat eater will probably put on more weight because they're eating meat which causes inflammation. But if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, understand nutritional toxicology, understand the importance of getting all of the nutrients, not just vitamin B1, B2, B3, B4, thousands of nutrients that you get only from plant sources.
And the thyroid could be contribute for...
Oh, well, look, there is another issue too in terms of thyroid. Something like 15% of Australian women have underactive thyroid, an underactive thyroid gland, hypothyroidism. One of the major contributors to that is, of course, the toxins, and the major toxin involved in that is fluoride in the water. So in our weight loss program, we actually advocate people to get the fluoride out of the water, get these other, what we call endocrine disrupting chemicals, so your body can go back to a state that it can understand exactly what your food's trying to tell it.
Peter, have you heard about the government and the influence of the bad advice that the government gives us? Can we rely on government advice when we want to be healthy?
Look, I believe there's a large chunk of government information that is absolutely wrong. Where do you go to for correct information? You become a researcher and you do your own homework, and you look at what the government has got and you say, okay, what sounds logical, reasonable, and are they being influenced by lobby groups?
So back to the lobby groups. How the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the food industry is connected in this world today?
Look, when it comes to information from the food industry and the medical associations and so on, they are intimately entwined with the pharmaceutical companies. There are billions of dollars just on marketing and programming to doctors and medical associations around the world. So even in the scientific journals, it says so much of this research coming from this industry is now corrupted by large sums of money.
Thank you very much, Peter, being here.
Yep.
Don't forget, next week, same time, same channel. Shadowboxing, have your say.
You're a disgrace, you are. Not me. That's my feeling. You're a disgrace.